I'm here with Mark Scott, co-founder of Bella and Duke, and now his new venture, Torus Tree. Mark, let's just kind of start off easy and let's look back at your, I guess, first entrepreneurial endeavor, or maybe a bit further, just like, let's say your childhood. When you look back at it, what were the moments you think kind of gave you that resilience and that training that kind of led you down this journey?
Oh, well, I mean, I could go back as the age of 4 if I had to. Parents got divorced. I was kind of kidnapped by my grandparents and taken away from my mum. So there's a lot of, I guess, small trauma, big traumas all built in there that I've revisited over the years. But I understand why I am the way I am because of these things. Also, I discovered last year I was dyslexic. Everybody else around me went, "Didn't you know?" And no, I just thought my brain was different. So I guess that goes back to my whole childhood of I just remember not being able to get like even 4 out of 10 on the spelling tests. And no one picked up on it. Everyone just thought I was dumb or was just mucking about, having fun, daydreaming. No one went, actually, Mark can't absorb things. And when I bring that forward now, I realize, why I find it difficult to recall things and all these things. But what it did give me the gift of was being kinder to myself and realizing it's a superpower. And we can get onto this a little bit, but when you feel different, when you can't absorb information the way everyone else is, you kind of start to think you are different. You are an outsider. You are. Because back in the 70s, school wasn't geared up for people with dyslexia. It's very difficult to be picked up. So that was a start. And then, I just started thinking, okay, I want to start making money. My dad was an entrepreneur. He had businesses. He had nightclubs down in London, did all this crazy stuff that I watched. And his business invented the video jukebox. Really? So I was surrounded by a certain group of people, and it gave me early exposure to a different way of life, especially in the yuppie 80s. I remember the first mobile phone, this big chunky thing that my dad got in his Jaguar. So there's lots of things in my childhood that put me on the path that I wouldn't say was a normal path. But literally going through school and getting no GCSEs, not one. Yeah. My highest grade was a D. And it's not that I didn't want to do it, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And leaving school, just thinking whatever I do, it's got to be more than doing a 9-to-5 job, because that scared the crap out of me. Yeah. I thought of working for 45 years for a pension. I thought there's got to be more to life than just that. So throughout school, I, like the classic entrepreneurs, I was selling Hubba Bubba individually. I'd buy wholesale packs and then sell them individually and mark up on them. I didn't realize that then I had gardening businesses. I'd go out washing cars with mates. And we were just always making money. And I think part of that was because I never felt I could rely on anyone from my childhood. Not that my mum and dad were bad people. They were just absorbing their own lives.
Yeah, makes sense.
And they were doing the best that they could with what they had. But I just realized, look, if I'm going to get on with life, it's down to me. I can't rely on anybody. And that was the start of my journey. But fortunately, the BBC, which was like one of the first home computers, not the broadcaster, came out. And what that allowed me to do is then start to be able to communicate with people on a level that I'd never been able to communicate before. So computers coming out was a game changer. Managed to get into college, blagged my way in without any GCSEs, did a BTEC in hospitality management, then at HND, and actually did well. I got merits and distinctions that I never had before. So I went, I'm not dumb. I just communicate in a different way than most, and my brain just works in a different way.
Yeah.
And then briefly, after HND, I was going to travel the world. I was going to do cruises because I heard that you have to be an alcoholic and sex maniac. And I'm like, what's that like about that? It's a 20-year-old. But then I got a summer job doing door-to-door sales. And unfortunately, I was really good at it. So at 20, I was learning how to sell stuff out of a bag. Because you were laughing about your travels in London with the big.
Oh yeah, that was really heavy. If you bought I don't know.
Yeah, back then I was carrying 2 bags of merch, as we used to call it, and it could be calculators, books, fluffy toys, kitchen knives, whatever it is, and we would literally go into a business and we just sell it cold calling.
All right.
So you learned how to have no money in your pocket in the morning and take these products that you never sold before and learn how to pitch them, learn how to sell them, how to sizzle the deal, how to reference, how to use reviews. You know, we used to call them references, like the Jones Factor. Or next door's buying it for this reason, somebody's buying it for that reason. So I learned all these skills, but the most important skill I learned, John, was mentality. Early on, I realized if you don't have a positive mental attitude, I know, sounds American. If you didn't, then you had no chance in sales because 90% is negatives of the people you speak to.
Yeah.
So you had to play all these mind games about having a positive mental attitude. You had to be confident even when you didn't feel that. You had to be enthusiastic, and you had to do that day in, day out because you ain't making money otherwise. And at this period of time when I was doing it, the coal mines were being shut, all the shipbuilding, you know, there was a lot of unemployment. You didn't have a choice. So then I got really good at the sales, but the trick was I got really good at teaching other people how to do the sales. And then I started building a team of people around me. And people would say, oh, Mark, you're really good at this. And this is the first time in my life that people said, you're really good at this. You're really this. My whole life at school was like, you can't, you're not concentrating. You do. So that motivated me to work hard. And suddenly I went, oh, my ego, oh, I feel good about this. I want to do more. And I want the fast cars. I want the big house. And then I started probably 21. I had this vision board because the whole thing about sales is because you are dealing with negatives, you have to have a reason to take those negatives. And like any business, there's a reason behind it. And for me, I wanted the Porsche, I wanted the properties, I wanted all the things that I had on my vision board. And I set my life very early on. That's what I wanted for all the wrong reasons, but we'll get to that. But that was a real driver for me. And also to prove the school, you're fucking wrong about me.
Yeah.
You were the guys, you should have figured out that I was smart, but you were teaching me in the wrong way, you know? And I had this whole, like, I'm proving them wrong. I'm proving quite a negative motivation, but it was a motivation nonetheless. Push me forwards. So I did that, and then I moved up to Edinburgh at 21. I was on George Street, you know, running my first office out of George sales. I mean, I was just thinking about it this morning. I was like, most people would love to have an office address on George Street, and there's me, 21. Selling stuff out of a bag and doing it. We didn't last there very long because the accountants below didn't like the fact that we were shouting and screaming and doing all the motivational stuff at 8 o'clock in the morning before the guys went out in the field to sell stuff. But then we started selling for people like the gas and electricity got deregulated. So we had people like N-Power and all the big electricity companies saying, could you take our services and sell them direct to consumers? And that's when we started getting involved in services, blue chip companies, charities, signing people up. Because the other products you were selling, you know, you were just selling calculators, you were just selling this. These services you were making much more money at. Yeah. As a business, and you're not carrying 2 big heavy bags around.
Yes.
And all this stuff. So then we got involved doing that. And I did that for about 7 years. I had offices up and down the country. I had about 200 people doing door-to-door sales up and down the country. And it was a great cash cow. But it was hard work. I mean, you didn't know who was going to show up the following day because everyone's on commission. It was tough going, you know?
Yeah.
And then I got headhunted by DC Thompson, those guys, to work with us.
You own this business that
Yeah, it was me and my wife Sadie who you met. We built that together.
I'm going to just you on height on this one second.
Yeah, so sorry. So it was like you would build a team and then you'd create your own office with your team, and then they would supply you all this.
Yeah.
So it was like a network marketing sort of approach.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just wondering.
Yeah. But then I realized at that point, it's a good point because I missed that. I didn't own anything. Yeah. I wasn't building value in my business because what do I own? I'm selling stuff for other people. Yeah. I haven't got no IP, you know? So that was when my aha moment was. And then DC Thompson came along and said, we're looking for somebody to help us with this thing called the internet. And they had the site called Travel Scotland, which was one of the biggest travel sites to Scotland at the time. And I went, okay, I'll get involved with that. The thought of not having to do commission stuff. So I quit my business and started in the internet in very early days. And long story short with that, we had 400 websites at one point, and I was doing loads of different businesses. I had Go Bananas, which is like a stag and hen party site. I had party buses, the big double-decker party buses in Edinburgh and all that. We were doing that. I was doing travel sites to India, I had 60 guys working with me in my Indian office. It just went crazy. Everything I was doing, it was turned into gold. I had a recruitment business. I'm doing all this. And it was like the worst thing you could ever do for somebody with ADD. You know, it's like, here's the next shiny thing, here's the next shiny. So I spent 15 years
Chasing shiny
of
objects.
shiny objects, and everything was making money. Some stuff wasn't making money. Some stuff was making money. I had no idea. But it was great fun. And it was just until the one day when they all stopped making money. And that probably changed after 2008. It didn't really hit us until 2010, 11. The consumers weren't affected as much as the banking.
Yeah.
And it took time it was a slow decline in some of my businesses. And because I wasn't properly on top of them all, it got to a point when, I was losing money. And about 10 years ago, I just was completely stressed out and couldn't sleep. I was just literally shaking, and I just was like, enough's enough. I cannot keep doing this. And I said to my business partner at the time, I said, I'm going to have to quit. First time in my life. My body's just saying you can't do this anymore. And I felt like a complete failure. I felt like I let my kids down and stuff like that. And then...
So what age were you at this point then?
I was 41, 42. Midlife crisis. Sort of.
Yeah.
So I just said that enough was enough, and I just did it, and I just felt shit. I just felt so like I'm not a man, and all these things going through. I had some dark thoughts. And interesting, this tree had fallen down in my front garden, and after a storm, a bit like yesterday's storm. And I went out every single day with my axe. I said, okay, I'm going to chop this tree up. And whatever I do next, I've got to do it for a purpose. Because previous to that, I've been doing it to prove everyone wrong. I've been going after the fast cars, the big houses and stuff like that. Yeah. And I had a lot of successes. I mean, I had a portfolio of properties,
Did you own anything by that point then?
Yeah. I had properties. I had the businesses that I would obviously... I didn't even want the money for the businesses. I was that dark.
Yeah.
Just like, I just didn't want the stress anymore. Just like, I've got to pass it back. I just wanted to walk away.
All right.
And the reason was because none of the businesses I had were anything I was like remotely proud. Well, it wasn't even proud. I was proud of them, but I wasn't like doing it for all the right reasons. I was just doing it to make money, maybe provide for my kids and stuff like that. But the underlying why are you doing it for was not in any of those businesses. So when I was chopping up this tree, I said, whatever I do next, it's got to be about passion. It's got to be about purpose. It's got to be something I'm so motivated about doing. And as I'm chopping up the tree, I also was about 17 stone. So I was well overweight. I'd been really good at smoking, do smoke rings and everything, drinking and all that stuff that you do to numb yourself a little bit. And I cleared up my diet. And then I started following podcasts like Dave Asprey, these biohackers. So we were very early on in biohacking. And then I started clearing my body up and putting the good ingredients in, clean, taking supplements. And suddenly I felt like I was 20 again. I went, this is what it's like when you put proper ingredients into your body, when you put proper fuel into your body. My dry skin started disappearing. My anxiousness started to decrease. And I went, wow, this is just through food and supplements. And interesting, you were chatting about gut bios and stuff as well. And that's why I would so resonate with that. So then I started feeling really good. And at that time, I had 2 dogs, and my mate, Tony, he had 2 dogs. And 3 of them got cancer that year, all under the age of 10, 3.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can 3 out of 4 dogs get cancer? What's going on here? Then I go and look at the dog food. And I'm like, why didn't I look at this before? And I'm looking at the side of it going, 4% meat.
Yeah.
What's the rest of it? And that was that. You know what? We're getting pushed all this stuff onto us. Being told that this pet food's really good. And I'm looking at the ingredients going, well, doctors are telling us to eat fresh and healthy. Yeah.
Dog's eating this, yeah.
And the dog's eating this. And it really rang home, when you watch Clarkson, his farm, and you hear conversations like, oh, this isn't good enough for human, but it's good enough for animal feed.
Yeah.
You go, oh, right. So the stuff that's not good quality for the humans, we're just giving it to the animals.
Yeah.
And that probably includes pet food, I imagine.
Yeah.
So I had this real desire. I'm like, this is so wrong. And I went, this is the first time I've spotted something. I went, this totally resonates with me. So I started playing with the idea in my head. And I spoke to somebody who had this pet food business. It was raw. And they were running it. And I said, you should do this door to door. You should go and tell people about raw and natural feeding and fresh feeding because people need to know this. But you're not going to necessarily get that through an advert because you're going to have to educate people. And I gave them connections with the people I'd worked with before, but they never went anywhere with it. And it sat with me for about another 3 months. And I went, you know what? Stuff it. I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
So Tony, my mate, actually was he used to run factories for manufacturing human food. So I'm like, okay, I've got someone who can manufacture for us. Great. Well, at least knows how to do it. Who else do I need? Well, I need a vet because what does a Geordie know? You know? I'm not a scientist. I'm certainly not a vet. So I went off and I called up back to my cold calling and fooled around a load of vets and said, hey, I'm looking to raise a little bit of money. Would you be interested? And also be coming on as my vet on the board, advisory board. And of course, I'm in Glasgow and Wendy said, yes, she'll do it out of the blue. So I went down and explained that and she backed us. And then I found an IT guy, a salesperson and a nutritionist, Rowan, who would also help formulate the meals. Yeah. But it was really simple. What we were doing is taking if a cat catches a prey, how can you mimic that?
Exactly.
In food. And that's what we did as much as we possibly could.
Yeah.
And then you start really seeing all these cats and dogs at the time, because we didn't have a cat food at the start, suddenly with all these skin issues, then suddenly those skin issues going away. And they'd been on medication for years, maybe. And you go, it's so unnecessary. So that really put a fire in my belly. And I went, well, every single business I've built so far, I've done organically. I've taken no investment. I've grown them. And that was back to my sales days. You go out in the morning with no money and you make money.
Yeah.
So I was never used to somebody giving me money. So I thought on this one, though, I went, you know what? This is too big a thing for me to try and do organically. I want to go big. I want to change the whole pet food industry. And that was the start of Bella and Duke. Yeah. So we did our test. We did our minimal viable product or minimal livable product, whatever you want to call it. And we tested it. We signed up 100 people on subscription, did a door-to-door. And we had 65 still after 6 months. And I went, wow, that's great. Yeah. There's an opportunity here. And it allows us to get out there and tell people all about it. So we were going to go down the door-to-door route. But what happened was the team weren't ready to do it for us. So I said, I'll just set up adverts on Facebook and Google because I've got experience from doing all my travel sites. And it just went crazy. It just took off. And I was doing lots of videos and stuff, and people just seem to resonate with the messaging. And we built a community, and the community today is still incredibly active, and it just grew arms and legs. And we went from a couple of staff in Blairgowrie to 140 staff in 3 years.
Wow.
But one thing we did do, my two co-founders I had involved, from day one, I said, we've got to have clarity of what we're doing here. Because we've all got to be off the same page. Because if you say, I thought you meant this, or I thought you meant that, that's when cracks happen. Yeah. So we had this is what we want to achieve. And one of the goals was build a 50 million quid valued business in 3 years. And I said, okay, if we're going to do that, what do we need to do? What's the steps to getting there? Which I'd never done before. It's not like a business plan, but it's like it helps you set your KPIs. Yeah, because I don't know if you play golf, but if you
play very bad.
I'm even worse. But if you imagine golf, you look at the flag, don't you? And then you find somewhere about a meter in front.
You try to, yes.
Yeah, and you think that. So you aim at the meter in front, not the flag, because that's the thing you can focus on. And that's when you're running businesses, you've just got to have that meter in front. What's that meter in front to get you to that flag?
Yeah.
Still in the general direction, but that's it. So it allowed me then each day, I knew what I had to do each day in sales, because obviously sales driven, retention stuff, what I had to do. And then from that, we got valued at 50 million in 4 years, not 3. Yeah. From a little office in Blairgowrie in the Highlands of Perthshire.
So what were the, I guess, the mistakes that you kind of made on the way because of, you never raised investment, so what sort of issues that kind of came across that you struggled with?
Well, it is interesting because when you're raising money, it is different. It's very different. You de-risk a lot. So raising money allowed us to do things properly. So it allowed me to recruit people. So this is one thing I say to entrepreneurs all the time. If as an entrepreneur, you don't have to be the smartest person in your boardroom, but you have to be the one with the absolute clarity and vision. Because what I had to do at the start was attract the best possible people I could, even when I couldn't afford them. And the only way you do that in leadership is by inspiring people. It's by people believing in your very vivid vision. And it's so powerful. So the challenges around that is, of course, is then you get other people's opinions.
Yes.
And in the past, I recruited a lot of marks. When you're in a sales office, I'm good at sales. I want lots of people like me. It's a fucking nightmare when you're running a business and have an office full of me in a normal business situation. So then I started really looking for people. One, I've always had to have a good attitude. Like attitude's like non-negotiable. Got to have a good attitude.
Exactly.
But skill sets, I don't need you to agree with me, but I need you to have a different view of me. I need you to be in the detail because I'm not a details guy. Like watching you set up your studio, that's not me. But I needed people who were prepared to do that because that's how you make a magical team. That's how you make it. If everyone's a striker in a football team. So I think raising the money allowed me to attract more people, which meant I was getting better results and we were growing super, super, super fast. Where we became one of the largest, subscription dog food businesses in the UK in a very short period of time.
Yeah. My last dog before he died of stomach cancer, was on Bell and Duke.
Oh, is he? Okay.
And it was the last thing he ate because he went off all the foods.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. It's tough. And as you know, pets, the pets are there in the good time, the pets are there in the bad time. They're there all the time. They're always pleased to see you. It's heart-wrenching when you lose a pet. It really, really, really is. In many ways, it can be harder than losing a parent because they're always there. They're always there. And, but you're fortunate to have had a parent, a dog and enjoy it.
So when you kind of, I guess, look at, Bell and Duke, because this is your first proper purpose-led business, what were the things you go, if I could do it again, I would do that differently? Or do you kind of go, well, I did everything to the list, it went well, there was not really many mistakes because of your sales days?
I probably gave away too much control a little bit earlier, so there's a few things around there, but would I change it? I'm not so sure because at the same time, I think as entrepreneurs, especially me, I'm a fire starter. I'm great at starting stuff, but you don't need me there when you're at a certain size business. You need proper steady Eddie at the top, who's going to run it differently. I think someone classed it as a wartime CEO and a peacetime CEO. They're different skill sets. So I think I probably, because I stood down as CEO just about 2 years ago, which was the right point. And I think, from looking back as well, just making decisions and believing in yourself a bit more, because the problem is that you've got a lot more opinions.
Yeah.
And now doing the mental work and the mental wellness and really working on my own, I guess, wounds, traumas that I grew up with. Now I see it in everyone else.
Yeah.
So I see it like a perfectionist is somebody who doesn't feel enough.
Yeah.
Because maybe they've had a parent who always said, that's not good enough, or to always tidy it up and always So when you start to see people's wounds, their self-doubts, their worries. And I would have made other decisions had I realized that a bit earlier on. That even though they're saying something loudly doesn't mean they're right, or even if they're saying something confidently also doesn't mean they're right.
And that kind of goes back to the giving away too much control then.
Yeah. So I think, but at the same time, these are small things would I change? And no, I'm not sure 100% I would change too much.
No, but it's a good learning experience for the next time if you try to do a big raise like that.
Yes. Well, I think it's I was chatting to an entrepreneur about it yesterday, I'd never do a raise again. I went, why? Have you ever tried building a business on credit cards? That's just as tough for lots of different reasons. So I think it's all about experiences and then putting things in perspective. But mistakes happen. Challenges come along. It's only really a mistake if you keep making the same one. I keep making the same decisions. I keep the same thought patterns. I've never realized that actually maybe it's me who's causing a lot of these issues. And as somebody with ADD or 4K, 8K, whatever they want to call this stuff now, I don't tend to name them too much because I just don't want it as an excuse of why I can or can't do something.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I realize that my brain goes off in 10 million miles an hour and I have loads of ideas and it stresses people out if I talk about it. So for me, it was like learning to filter all my thoughts, right? Yeah, write them on a piece of paper, get them out of your head, but don't tell everyone every 2 seconds because they think it's like literal. No, I'm just banging ideas out.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting everyone to do that. And it stresses people out because most people's brains don't work that way and they get like overwhelmed. So it's techniques like that, in hindsight you learn. But you have to go through it in order to learn it.
Yeah, no, exactly. The only way to learn is to make the mistakes. You don't make mistakes, you're never going to learn.
Yeah.
And so when you kind of, I guess, did you ever kind of get a point with Bell and Duke, considering you went to the point of burnout beforehand?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever kind of reach that again? Or did you, during this time, because you already reached it prior to your purpose vision that you had at cutting the tree, did you repeat that mistakes?
Well, it's a great question. And no, simply for the reasons I had tools then to deal with the added stress. Because we went into lockdown. So COVID, suddenly you're building a fast growing company. I mean, we were one of the top 100 fastest growing companies in the UK at the time.
Yeah.
So there was like all this growth. At any point you thought, shit, the factory could get shut down if COVID gets in there. So you had to have a lot of these things in place just in case things would happen.
Yeah.
But what I did is I had a routine, a morning routine. I would be doing my exercises, gym, breath work, meditation. I would use everything in my toolkit to keep my stress levels to a certain manageable point. And stress is good for you. I mean, it's there for a reason, but not all the time, not 24/7.
No.
And I'm actually, and I realize now I'm actually a worrier, which really surprises people. But you run a business, go, well, that's only because I worried about doing a 40-year job more than I did the pain of worrying about running a business. And we often talk about stressed out rather than worried out.
Yeah.
And some things you need worry for, like coming up to an exam. It's good to worry a little bit. It motivates you to do your revision and prepare and stuff like that.
But it's a faff doing it.
It is. But the worry about things that may or may not happen, that's where you go, I've just spent 24 hours worrying about the worst outcomes, which I know aren't going to happen, but my brain continuously just keeps doing it. And so I learned techniques about how to calm my brain down, how to disassociate from the voice, because are you the voice speaking or are you the voice listening?
Yeah, it's like the cognitive behavioral therapy. Your responses are not actually your brain thinking, is a fight or flight response.
Yeah, survival.
Yeah,
it is, which is not useful when every single email comes in. It's just like at one point. So we're still cave people in this modern society, and all the developers, you create apps and stuff like that. They know this, so they've created a life of continuous bombardment, news, clickbait. We were only ever designed for about 130 people to 180. If you think about the village size, 130, 180 people's news, we get 8 billion.
Yeah.
And interestingly on that, I asked ChatGPT, I said, okay, I want you to go through all the news. And I only want you to give me news that actually is going to affect me personally. You know everything about me. You know the business, you know where I live there. And I get about 1 notification a month. And it's usually to do with some sort of local council thing going on the roads. And you go, that's reality.
Yeah.
Reality is 99.999% of the things that are going on in this world ain't going to affect us.
No.
Try telling your brain that.
Yeah.
If you're watching it all the time, And you know yourself, being a journalist, that, it's all about clickbait. It's all about grabbing attention. And we were chatting about that off camera about, the fact that in an interview, you'll try and get, and that's fine. But if you don't have the tools to combat it, then what happens is you get burned out.
Yeah.
And that's my aha moment when I was building Bell and Duke. The reason I was able to do it and grow at the rate I did was because, one, having a great team around me, two, having systems in place, three, having very clear goals, four was making sure that my ego wasn't attached to this business, which is hard.
Yeah.
If you think someone like James Watt, who we were chatting about, Brewdog,
Yeah.
how difficult is it to disassociate yourself from Brewdog and be James Watt?
Yeah.
Mark Scott, Bella and Duke. The reason it's not called Mark Scott or Mark and Tony is because from day one, I was like, this is not about Mark. This is about changing the pet food industry. This is about.
Yeah.
So all these little things that I realized that I've done to help when you're in building the business, but also when you're leaving the business, that you can step back.
Yeah.
And yeah, probably rambling a little bit, but yeah.
No, it's useful. It's interesting because it's kind of like that. It goes like some entrepreneurs, you could say, suffer from like a hero complex, which is the ego idea. They have this brilliant business, they're pushing forward, and they're doing it for all the wrong reasons. And this is obviously you've associated with. So is that kind of something, I guess, going back to childhood? Is that where it came from, or is it more to do with the fact that it's just you're enjoying the fact you're proving people wrong?
Yeah. So at the start, it was proving people wrong.
Yeah.
It was proving that suddenly I was in an industry where people were, oh, well done, you've worked really hard and you've got money in your pocket and this and that. And a couple of years ago, I had like £250,000 worth of cars in my front drive. You go, does it make me any happier?
Yeah.
Why have I got them there? And there's a difference between needing something and wanting something. And the need was I needed to prove something. I needed to just do it once and see how it felt.
Yeah.
But now I've flipped that to, no, I want it. And it's okay to want it.
Yeah.
It's really comfortable to want it. But I don't need it for me to feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
When you drive up to a supermarket and everyone's staring at you because you've got the nicest car and whatever, it gives you that bit of a buzz, but then it's a bit, And then last year I got rid of all my cars.
Why?
Because I didn't want them to be the thing that defined me.
Yeah.
Because I've had them. And I also didn't want my kids to think you need this.
Yeah.
To be fulfilled. It's really annoying waking up. I have all these thoughts. And so now I arrive in the supermarket and no one looks at me. But then I'll go, can I go into a room and just have a thing about me that people go, there's something about my calmness, their confidence, which is not based on any, label on my shirt or anything like that, purely down to me, me just holding my space. So that's been what I've been doing for the last, 2 years in effect, is like getting rid of the things that don't serve me. Now, hey, I might go and get a nice car again, but that's because I want it, not because I need it. So don't get me wrong. Driving down a road on the west coast of Scotland in a really nice car, it's lovely. It's amazing. It's a beautiful experience. I'm not going to lie. But I don't want to sacrifice so much just to have that, half a day experience on a Sunday. It's not worth it.
Yeah. So I guess, was that kind of, was it your children that kind of made you realize that, you need to kind of change the sort of that with the cars, the sort of thing, kind of your attitude towards money? Or what was it that kind of made that change?
That was great. That's a great question. The reason it's a really good question is not for the reason that you think. The reason I want to do it is because I realize I carry wounds from my childhood, but then my parents carry wounds from their childhood, and my grandparents carry wounds from their childhood. Yeah. At what point do we stop passing our wounds on to our kids? At what point do you identify that this shit's not my shit? Yeah. This thing that's being put onto me was passed on to me. And that realization that why I am the way I am is because of how my parents are. Yeah. And the reason my parents are the way they are is because their parents. Yeah. And they went through the war. I mean, they went through trauma. They had lack of, maybe it wasn't family together all the time. You had a community because everyone was in the same boat. But, being divorced and stuff, little things like saying mum and dad in the same sentence, I never said because my mum and dad were never together. Yeah. Christmas morning, I never went to my mum's bedroom because it wasn't my mum and dad. It was my mum and my stepfather or whatever. So these are the things you suddenly wake up and go, you know what? I'm going to give those to my kids, but I don't want to give them with the negativity attached to it. I want to give it from a place of truth and heartfelt love for my kids. And I said to my boys last week, things just come to you. We were in Glasgow. I went for my boys are, 18. It's his 18th birthday. My son's nearly 20. And I said to my boys, you know what? I love you to bits, but never do you need to make me proud.
Mm.
Because the minute you feel like you have to make me proud, you're doing stuff for me.
Yeah.
I want you to do stuff for you that's going to I'm going to be here to love you, advise you, support you. But I want you to go and find yourself, like genuinely go and find.
Yeah, makes sense.
What motivates you for the positive reasons. So I think that then starts to heal the line.
Mm.
So I'm putting less of my stuff onto my kids. And I think it's that consciousness of the things that drive you. And some things I'm happy to keep. Like I know there's some things in me that like I don't prepare. I'm the opposite of you, right? I'm totally unprepared.
Wow.
I
I come across as prepared, but doesn't mean I am prepared. It's experience.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? You've done it and you get to a point, but at some point you probably had your 25 questions and now you can do it because you've got the experience, you're confident.
Yeah. Exactly,
You probably got really good at listening to people, active listening and all that stuff.
Yeah, I do still like to take notes just so I can go, you said something. Can I ask about it? Or is it worth asking about if there's time? Then you do ask about it and then you get it better when you're doing it. Yeah.
But all those things. So, for me, my kids were changed. It was a game changer because I thought, if I'm going to have kids, that I'm responsible. I want to give them the best opportunity they can. And I'm, I love the fact where I have in the relationship I've got with my boys. I've been married nearly 30 years. I got married at 22 or young. So there's a lot of things I've ticked, and going back, all those things I wrote on my first goal sheet when I was running in 21 sales office, I only just realized this summer I achieved all of them.
Wow.
I didn't even, the final one, having a house in the middle of the forest surrounded by trees. Maybe because for me now it's helping others.
Mm.
I have this big draw to helping others overcome their limiting beliefs. There's a lot of people with trauma, known trauma, unknown trauma. I just love the fact that I can help people overcome stuff and change their life a little bit. So that's why I do it. And also I'm thinking, for the next 30 years, what am I going to do? What, play golf? No. I'm sitting in Spain? No. I want to do something that I really love doing and thrive on and stuff like that. So that's why we started, Torus Tree was all about wellness and also help entrepreneurs. I do mentoring, coaching with quite a few different businesses that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurs just to help them because I just love entrepreneurism. They're like the modern day wizard.
Well, they are, yeah.
They create something out of nothing. They do this vision. And I hadn't realized until probably again this year, I've had a lot of revelations this year at 51. I thought everyone had clarity and vision, but a lot of people struggle with it. And I went, no. That's the thing, I think, whether it's dyslexia or my brain's just, I envisioned this. I envision everything. I just see it so clear. It's just held in my head and I just do it. And I don't worry about not being perfect. You're sitting in the cabin today that I've been working on. Could have paid someone to do it, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you judged me? Have you not judged me?
I would judge no.
I can
do it myself, so there's no point in me judging.
Yeah, but the point is other people come along and go, oh, it's not ready yet, it's not this, it's not that. And I'm like, fuck it, just get started because you'll learn more from doing it, Yes. And you could build something 6 months later. Again, biggest mistake I find for most entrepreneurs is they do something and then ask the customer when they're ready 6 months later and the customer goes, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Rather than just getting started and making stuff happen. So this is a continuous of my life is,
it's like just as if you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because what's the point of me spending a couple of million quid on bits and bobs that nobody wants?
Exactly.
Where I can grow into it. Oh, I'm glad I didn't do that because I am already. I had visions of me doing stuff and I already started and went, oh, I'm so glad we didn't do that. And that comes from experience. So, I'm living what I preach, I guess, and it's all about being authentic.
And I guess going back to kind of that, clarity. Did you always have that, especially when Bella and Duke, or did you not really have that clarity? And if you did get the clarity, when did it come?
that's the only business I ever had clarity on.
That's the only business.
Yeah, I had a very strong mission to change the pet food industry because it was so wrong. It was that, and every morning I literally, when I talk and I do presentations in front of people, I'll go to conferences and do, it's not what I'm saying, it's how I'm saying it. I connect with people. I know I'm connecting to my heart. I'm talking to you from my heart. I'm not talking from my head.
Yeah.
Totally. So hopefully you're feeling, you feel it. That's the thing. And when you have a vision, a purpose, it's that feeling that's so important. You need to hold that as an entrepreneur. You need, or as a leader, you need to have that thing in your heart that makes you just, when it's tough, you're going to fight that thing. You're going to do that thing because it's just worth it. Because sometimes it's tough.
Oh yeah, the grind.
Yeah, sometimes it's like really tough. So you got a negative come that you go. And, you know, I often talked about goals. Again, going back to when I was running my very first sales office, I talked about the difference between having a big goal and a small goal is if you have a small goal and you have like little humps in the way of negatives, you might not be able to see your goal. Shift that goal to the moon and they're just little speed bumps.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Same negative, but how you perceive that negative. And again, this self-talk going like little techniques I use with the challenges is imagine you speak to yourself in 10 years' time. What would your 10-year future self tell you?
Yeah.
It'd be like, don't worry, John. You've been through worse. And you're fine. You're still breathing. You're still here.
Yeah, true.
It shall pass. It shall pass. So these are techniques you learn, but we're not taught this at school. We're not taught this in the entrepreneurial path. And these are like vital for survival.
The research shows like 65% experience mental health issues. The 85 is like burnout, or the other way around. I think it's 85 mental health, 65 burnout. They have it.
Yeah, the other 15% are lying.
Yeah. But there's not like for example, there's not like ways to kind of deal with it. There's issues, but there's not like a proper structure kind of going, right, how do we solve this? And like, for example, when you look at your sales office to the day of that cutting the axe on the tree, you know, you got the clarity because something happened. But if that didn't happen, would you ever got that clarity? You don't know.
That's that space, yeah. And that's what, you know, I do a lot of work now is about giving yourself space. And I'm Talbot for now. I'm like half burnt out setting this place up because I realized the one thing I haven't done is give myself recharge. So I've been pretty much full on since May, since I moved in here, doing breathwork sessions and all my other stuff that I do. I was just saying to my wife, I'm like, when was the last time? When did we just have a spa day? And we haven't. And one, because we really enjoy what we're doing. And it is challenging. It's continuously challenging. So it's really important that we do things like that because mental health just creeps up on you. Stress just creeps up on you. And I see it again, you know, when I look around and people got big bellies and this and that, all I see is stress. All I see is illness. All I see is, you know, people struggling to get by, you know, alcohol, all these things are just used to numb the brain.
Yeah.
And when you clear them out, you actually make better decisions. You have more energy, you live longer.
And then it kind of comes to that interesting issue now you have, which is instead of alcohol numbing, it's now social media is being used to numb. You can just scroll and then just continue it because it's just mindless content. So how does, you know...
It's even worse than mindless content. It's negative.
Yeah.
Because everyone's now panicking about Russia invading, you know, this or submarines and this stuff's gone on all the time. It's just, we didn't have so much news channel to fill it up with all this guff. You know, I think aliens have been coming for the last 3 years or whatever, you know, and they might be here, they might not. But it's just, this stuff is, there's always a way of numbing yourself through it. But it's just being aware of it. It's just being like, why am I doing this? Why am I watching you? Why would you ever watch the news?
To learn.
And I'm saying this as a journalist, but learn what? Learn somebody else's point of view.
Yeah.
And I mean this in the best possible way.
To inform, to educate, and to entertain.
Yes. And we talked about this before we started this, you know, all the reasons about journal, and it's hard to find, you don't know what's true. You don't know if it's AI. I mean, I'm watching stuff going, oh, really? Did that happen? And then you go, that's AI. So now what can you trust? Well, the only thing you can really trust is your gut. And your thoughts, you know, to a degree, as long as you observe them in the way you're meant to.
Yeah.
But that is why I think it's so important to cut yourself off. I mean, I didn't even know there was a storm coming in. They're like, oh, it's a bit windy out there. Oh, there's a storm.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a storm. I was driving from London yesterday, so that was just like because it was fine until probably Manchester. It's like this is suddenly gotten heavy.
This is
Very
strong.
windy.
This is strong. Why didn't they tell me about this? Oh, they did. Forgot to see the news on.
I guess it wasn't really affecting London part. That's why I didn't
Probably you didn't hear
come
about
up on my thing.
Yeah.
Notify me.
So I think all these things, you just got to be careful of the information you put into your brain, because your brain will treat it as real regardless.
Yeah.
And then you get stressed out. I mean, I remember being a kid growing up in the 80s. It was like it was the Cold War.
Yeah.
So you meant to hide under your desk if a nuclear bomb falls. I mean, that's going to help. But we had the stress of but we had the stress of the Cold War, and you didn't realize how much of an effect that did have on you as a kid, and that was without social media. It's just wow, it's just too much.
What do you think needs done? Like, what can the government, or guests, or entrepreneurs, or networks can they do to kind of make it easier for people starting out, or so one's already in the business?
If it's the government, make it more business friendly. Start off with it rather than attacking this for every 2 seconds for all the wrong reasons. Stop taking politics to our world, because when you see what they're doing and again you step back and you go, that you're putting this out not because it's right for this country, because you want votes. And the problem with today's government is it's short term. Like the Chinese think 100 years, we think 4 years.
Yeah. No, that's very true. Yeah.
That's the difference. So what can I do rather than doing the right thing? And often I hear about, the NHS is underfunded. Is it? Or is it overused? Because if we stopped eating all that shite, what would happen to the NHS?
Yeah.
If we ate the proper food, what would happen to our mental wellness? Like we often think, I'm like, start with the food, get the best nutrient. And people don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But if you're eating highly processed food, it's like sticking petrol in a diesel car. You're going to knock the engine. Doesn't matter how good the car is.
Yeah. You're
going to knock the engine. You're going to fluff it up. You're going to have a big garage bill, which is exactly what's happened with the NHS. So let's start giving people they have to be responsible for their own health. That's where we need to start. Once you get these basics in, then everything flows on top of that. So, with entrepreneurs and stuff, like good nutrition, good sleep, good rest, the basic stuff, exercise, like get those in. If you're missing any one of those, you're not performing.
Yeah, that's kind of goes back to a conversation I had 2 ones ago, which is basically about 3 pillars you called it, and that was sleep, eat, get good food, and exercise. That's what you needed to do to ensure you're to at least you had to keep them up to avoid these issues, which was an interesting one. And so what do you think? Just looking at politics, looking just at the business side, what do you think needs to be done? Do you think it needs to be more? Is it kind of it goes back to the culture of British? Fact, we're brought up with this big stiff upper lip, get on with it mentality. The US, which is they're more friendly about this. You make a mistake, they can all encourage you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like you made a mistake. What's next? Instead of mocking you, going, you made a mistake. You're a failure now. Yeah. So do you think it's like a cultural thing that also needs to change, or do you think it's other?
Yeah. Stop fucking apologizing. I'm not afraid of being ambitious and motivated and all the rest. Lots of people are really uncomfortable with that. I mean, we just spoke a little bit about money and people's thing about money. Money's just money. What you do with it? Exactly. It's not evil. It's not, money doesn't even exist anymore. It's just a set of numbers in the digital world.
It's hyperinflated and it doesn't really have any value because of
it's currency rather than money.
Yeah, it's just because there's nothing to tie it to. So that's another debate.
No gold standard. Yes, and all the rest of it.
That's literally the reason, because the gold standards are gone. If you had gold, if money was still tied to the gold standard, it would still be the same value it was in the 60s.
Yeah, I mean, this house has got cheaper if you own gold.
Yeah,
this house has got cheaper if you own Bitcoin. This house has got cheaper if you own X, Y, and Z. It's got more expensive if you just got cash, fiat money, currency. It's definitely because they're devaluing it, but that's another story. Exactly. But this is the whole point. When you step back and actually understand what the ultra wealthy do, what the wealthy do, what the banking system's doing, all this stuff, you can kind of see where the world's going. And I can't remember the exact question you asked me, but I wonder if
You're not active listening, are you?
just dyslexic.
It was to do with the fact of culture. Do you think there needs to be something to change the culture, or
That's right.
is it nothing to do with the culture? It's more
Definitely culture. Definitely stop making excuses. I mean, I'm so bored of hearing, like, whatever we did as a country hundreds of years ago, every country's done something similar at some point.
Yeah.
And we seem to keep wanting to apologize for it. Let's just get over that already.
Yeah.
Let's think about, it's no longer Great Britain. It's just Britain.
Yeah.
The things that we were trying to hold on to, like, it's like there's a great book, The Art of War. And that's besides the word, but the best defense is a good offense.
Yeah.
But what we do is we try and defend the financial world. We try and defend this. We try and defend that, rather than going, we should own AI. Actually, we should own crypto. Actually, in Scotland, we've got hydro-free energy. We should be mining big time.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of goes into other conversation, which is, with AI, Scotland researched it for 60 years, but they lost out on it to the US. How did that happen? Probably because there wasn't that ambition to kind of push it forward.
Because we're scared. We're so scared. And we're such a socialist country in Scotland. I mean, I love Scotland. I absolutely love Scotland. But, I wouldn't, it's really difficult to run a business now from Scotland because you can't get the people here.
Yeah.
And the way of living. People don't care. Like, if they did, they would be living up here. They don't. They live in the south. For whatever reason, we kid ourselves on. Like, I'm happy. I love Scotland. I wouldn't live anywhere else. I absolutely, which is the reason I moved up here. I totally relate to it. It's just like, but, in Scotland, if we want to talk about mental wellness, Scotland should be like the mental wellness capital of, like, beautiful country, get out there in nature, unbelievable. Yet we have one of the highest mental wellness issues in the UK. How come? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. What is it culturally we're doing? And I think a lot of it's to do, and I'm not, we're talking a little bit about politics again, but when you lead from the front, and you blame other things,
makes sense.
Then what happens is you take your power away. Because I'm a victim now.
Yeah, no, that's it.
I'm a victim because of this, that. When you own it and go, we made a mistake. Messed up big time. I'm going to own it. I'm going to turn this around. Then you get into your power. Never do you hear that from a politician's voice. And I'm like, you're meant to be an example to my kids and their kids. I'm like, no, this has got to stop. And I think that's part of the culture thing is stop blaming and start owning. I can't remember Jock, whatever his name was, extreme ownership, that the Navy SEAL guy, Jock, whatever his name is, I can't remember. But now I get what he's talking about. Is that in extreme ownership, own it, because once you own it, as uncomfortable as it is, then you can you go back into your power and you can make things happen. And I think in Scotland we've got to own it. We've got to own AI. We've got to own this. We've got to own that. Whatever it is, stop being the we're not good enough.
Do you think that kind of goes to the education system? It kind of needs to change to kind of encourage it. So, for example, you look at Estonia, is one everyone talks about, which is the fact you have they've changed their education system, so it encourages entrepreneurial thinking, capitalist sort of style ideas. So they encourage more people to go global because that's where the money and it's what's going to stimulate their economy. Do you think that needs?
What you talk about? It's interesting about Tallinn. So I spent a month there with my kids.
Okay.
Because it is entrepreneurial. There's a Mine Valley. Vishan Lakan runs a university there.
Yeah.
And I took my kids there for a full month when I'm running Bella and Duke. And I'm getting them going to this university where they're learning, communication, building with AI, all these useful things for that, because I wanted them to culturally see a different way of life. Because the schools aren't going to teach them this. They're not going to teach them.
Yeah. They
teach you maths, but they don't teach you finance, good debt, bad debt, how you leverage money, all these kind of stuff. So I think, culturally, a country like Estonia, which everyone looks at, right? But like a good business, it doesn't give a crap whether you've got a good idea. It's all about execution.
Exactly.
I wasn't the first person to start dog food, and I was not the first person to do raw.
No.
There's companies there who've been there 5-10 years sooner than us. I kicked the arse off them. Why? Because I'm amazing. No, just because I had a very clear vision. I thought a lot bigger. and I had a plan of what I wanted to do and how I was going to get there. And the mission was so big. That was the difference. I wasn't the first. And it's the same with, you can send the politicians over to Estonia as much as you want, but unless you're going to actually come back and instigate what they're doing there. Yeah, because I've heard Estonia talked about that loads.
Yeah.
And from politicians. And I'm like, someone's got to have the balls to step up.
But that goes back to the point of long-term thinking. They don't treat it like a business. It's just about the
4 year, totally
surviving. But it's an interesting, point because you look at it and going, if you have a big majority, theoretically they should be able just to think of the long term because the majority is solid. So whether they have the manifesto or so you do, that's another point again.
Yeah. But again, if the whole party's aligned, but going back to business, it's the same. If everyone's aligned and understands the vision, the purpose, then everyone's on board. It's when you're not. And whether it's politics or running a business, family, whatever it is, everyone understands, what the vision, the purpose, and the role is.
Yeah. So did you ever, when you were, at Bell and Duke, or for this one, did you ever go and have an oh shit moment?
Yeah,
a moment that you're going, all right, okay, I really messed up. We need to, if we don't do this, the business is dead or something.
Oh, I've got loads. I mean, I can just give you one. But I never looked at them like, out of surprise. I expected them, which is why you have a risk register and you have to do all this stuff as you grow. But one was, we were growing, we outsourced our manufacturing. I'm suddenly start getting calls from customers saying I haven't had my food. And I'm like, you haven't had food? So I call it the manufacturing food. Oh, we didn't have a chance to send out all the boxes yesterday. I'm like, we're a subscription businesses that sends food. And you didn't think it was smart to call me just to let me know that none of the boxes went out the factory yesterday. And that was my, all right, we got to take control because their focus on customer intimacy is very different to mine.
Yeah. And
it was at that point I went there. So that's just an example of and then we brought manufacturing in-house and did it eventually over because I went, this is something we need to own right now, and that was when we built the factory and did all that stuff. But again, you could have looked at it and went, oh no, it's a nightmare. And did it. I just saw it as a good signpost.
So when you looked at it, so what was like the emotion you're feeling at that time? And then contrast it to when you're 21, how would you have felt before learning just to see,
But at 21, I would have gone, yeah, I'm 21, nothing matters, and we'll just deal with it. At other times when you realize you've got mortgages to pay, suddenly you watch your brain. This is why I'm talking about the story. Suddenly the internet's down, right? The website's down, right? And it happens. Yeah. The server's gone down, whatever. It's 11 o'clock at night. Can't get hold of anybody in IT. I have no idea. Oh no. What else is happening? They've got to do distribution more. And it would go up into my throat and I'd feel the anxiety there and all that stress. And now I'd just go, Mark, how many times have you been here before? You just know it's going to be fine. And that would take me down. It's like, on the volume control, you're at 10. Yeah. Then I started using normal tools to bring it down to 9, to 8, to 7, to 6, to 5. Because worry's a good thing, but just not at 10. Yeah. And I go, okay, what do I know? What can I control? What can I say? What else needs to do? What can't I do? Yeah. So if I can't do it, or worry about it, then fair dues. I mean, I had an example last week. I'm in the garden, I've got a little kitten, and she gets stuck up in the tree. Yeah, and I'm like, it's cold. She's 6 months old, trying to get her down my ladders when you get a third. My son's 18th birthday the following day. We're meant to go and see Jamiroquai. And I'm watching my brain going, and she couldn't come down. She was stuck, and she was stuck up there all night. And she couldn't even lie down. She had to stand. Oh, wow. And I'm like trying to sleep because there's nothing else I can do. I tried calling tree surgeons and stuff like that. And somebody said, I might have somebody in the morning. Well, okay, there's nothing I can do. I'll get up in the middle of the night. I said, well, my wife actually got up at 2:30 in the morning and went out to try and get her to come down. And she still wouldn't come down, meowing. The following day, I do lots of things and I call the local fire brigade. And they said, oh, you got to go through the SSPCA. So I'm looking on the SSPCA and it's the night before the SSPCA saying, oh, they're closing down, that they're having to sack everyone, or I can't remember what the story. I was too like that. So I call them back and go, they're not available, so they can't contact you to do it. Anyway, my brother was coming for to do some training with me in the gym that morning.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there watching my heart. I'm just watching that and going, how many times have I been here? I went, everything's going to be fine. You're going to get the cat down. It's not a problem. And then the fire brigade called me and said, oh, yeah, we can come out and get the cat. I never thought, by the way, those words would come out of my mouth to the fire brigade. I've got a cat stuck in my tree. But that was a good example of managing my stress and knowing that my sons, and I had all these stories went, you can play all these stories you want, but they're not true.
Yeah.
They're making them up in your head. And they're the worst worries, the ones where it's not unfactual. It's totally making up this future of 25 different ways. Yeah. And it's tiring.
Yeah.
And I was born with that. So it's a survival mechanism. What if, what that? Probably because my parents were arguing a lot when I was in the womb or whatever. I don't know, stress state, you come out as a stressed baby. But then I've just learned over time just to dial it from 10 to 8 to 6 to 4 to 2 to 0. You never get to 0, but you always have the goal. And that's what all these tools have helped me as an entrepreneur to deal with what my brain sees as crisis, which never are.
Yeah. So what made you switch from dogs to cats?
The wifey. I was like, because I'm like so into my animals, like, I worked in an animal sanctuary when I was 14. I forget all this, and then you suddenly go, oh yeah, I used to work in an animal sanctuary. I used to clear out the cats and the puppies and look after them all. I just have such a connection with animals that I find it really difficult. But Sadie saw two rescue cats online, and she said, oh, I had a dream about, and he's appeared. And I'm like, well, if you've had a dream, and I guess we best do it. So we got 2 cats and we got a kitten this summer. Again, somebody just put, but that's it. No more cats and dogs, because I have such a bond with them.
Yeah.
I just take that as my responsibility.
I know. It's an interesting one. My cat's he's fun. Put it that way.
Does your cat go outside?
No, he doesn't. It's that worry probably I have.
Yeah.
I'm in Glasgow and
and
flats and stuff. Woody, he's too nice. He looks so nice. I feel like that he just gets stolen.
Yeah, there's all that. And living here is actually incredibly dangerous. I hadn't realized.
Really?
Yeah. So one of my cats, got attacked by, we think, pine marten. Pine marten, because they're quite vicious.
Wow.
So he's like totally had his confidence. It was like 3 weeks of, going through a lot of fixing him and stuff like that. And then the cat up the tree, you realize actually living out here, it's not any safer. But then what kind of quality of life do I want them to have?
Exactly.
And I'm like, so I'm kind of comfortable with losing them. If I lost them because of a reason, I'd live with that because the quality of life for them.
Yeah.
So I made that decision just to go with it, and fate is fate,
Yeah.
But no, I love them bits. Yeah.
I do, yeah. No. It's hard thing. So when you kind of I guess, what was the moment, when you're going through the cutting the tree? What was kind of like going through your head at the time? How when you were going to that dark space now?
Yeah.
How dark was it for you?
Oh, it was very dark, like suicidal dark. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, because my dad was always like, had no money, even though he was driving fast cars, he would never pay the maintenance, stuff like that. Both sets of my parents went through bankruptcy. I just didn't want to be that parent, and so I felt a lot of guilt and shame that I was letting the family down. So I didn't feel, I felt less than a man. I just didn't, man's me.
Yeah.
So I went through a lot of dark stuff. But then I started listening to really positive podcasts, like over the top positive, like evangelists, Christianity, all this stuff, just to get out of that darkness, that grip in your chest and your stomach, just to get out of there. And then I started using things like GABA and all these things, which are biohacking things, which just help you calm down. Your body produces GABA, but taking it tastes like ass, but it does the job. Just start to suit, and it allowed me just to get a bit of space. And then every single day I go out for a walk, long walks, podcasts, really just get back onto it. Then I started studying and went, okay, I'm going to start reading autobiographies of other people just to go, we realized most people have gone through this.
Yeah.
Which is a pain in the ass. But then I started reading a lot of the wealthy people, and I went, oh, there's a pattern of what they've done here. I went, okay. And then I started understanding the pattern. And I went, okay, that's what I'm going to do next. Follow this pattern that'll take you. And that sunny glimmer of hope started to come back in. And then my brain started seeing opportunities. I saw the HelloFreshes, the Gusto, all these companies going subscribers and stuff like that. I went, right. I wonder if I could do that with the pet food. And that having that space allowed me to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And really go for it. Timing's everything in these things. Like, you talk about luck. Yes, there is luck. But it's because you were luckily looking at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
But you still got to nail it. You still got to go out there and make stuff happen.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. You know, you came up from London yesterday. You came up to here this morning. How many people would have done that? You know, how many people have said that's too hard? It's those little things that makes the difference whether you're successful or not. It's that last 5%. And I call it a doofus test. One of my mentors, a guy called Dan Pena, $50 billion man. Yeah. So I spent a week in his castle, and he just kicked the shit out of me for a week. It was tough. It was like SEAL training for.
I always wonder what his training is like, because he's very hard. I did it like a few years ago. He was really interesting.
Yeah, he's super smart, hardcore, like alpha hardcore. Pins himself like a Trumpy boy. I'm not sure he's quite there.
I don't think he likes Trump.
He sees a lot of similarities.
Yeah, there's similarities, but I remember asking him about it. I was like, oh, he didn't listen to him.
Yeah.
On his advice.
But again, when you stand here and you start to see the traumas of people, you start to understand the wounds, and you understand.
Yeah.
Because remember, the most successful people are usually the ones with the biggest wounds.
Yeah.
You know. So going to work with, but what I realized going to his week in his castle was, I was surrounded by lots of smart people, but I'd kick their ass only because they'll be, as he terms it, finger fucking the spreadsheet while I'm just calling him, Dan. I would just make calls, and that's all I did. You know, and that was the difference. But his model's all about M&A and all that. But for me, it's not about, it was never about proving stuff anymore. It was about actually doing something which was better for the planet or for the local, community or whatever it was. And that was the big difference, between what he represents and what I represent now. And I'm comfortable with that. There's a really good book I read 7 times this year.
Oh, wow.
And it's the courage to be disliked.
Okay.
And it's all about being your authentic self. But most people don't even know who that is. Who are you? Who is your authentic self?
Yeah.
Now, today, John, who are you? Like, what is it when you get to the core? Who are you? What is that thing that's going to drive you? What is that? Those stories you've told yourself that may or may not be true. All these things. And you start investigating, like if you were to wake up in the morning, what would be your perfect day? How would you see yourself? What do you do in the morning? Do you have a cup of coffee? Do you do your qigong? Do you do stretch? All I did, and I don't start at 10 o'clock, and I do this. And like, if you don't know what your perfect day is, how can you get it? If you don't know what the perfect life is, how can you get it?
So would you say Dan would be one of your mentors then?
That
you look at you going, well, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have had this sort of clarity. And I really, even though his style is completely different, what he does, what you're doing is different. Putting that aside, what his learning, the whole attitude.
Because he picked on me so much out of the group, he obviously saw something in me, which okay. But I think what he did for me is stop making excuses for thinking big. Yeah. Think big, go big, be big. And that is the biggest downfall of this country in the UK, in Scotland. Yeah. Is we're afraid to think big.
Yes.
We think it's a rude word. We think it's this. We think whatever story you want to apply to it, we think this, that, and the other. If we just thought bigger and had a bigger, longer vision, I think that's what Dan taught me is, about thinking big and going for it. And I think hanging out with the other guys and realizing, yes, academically, they might be smarter than me, but they're missing the crucial things, which is the heart. The thing that just drives you to do what you do. And again, when we're chatting, your vision, your thing, that's what I'm pulling in on. When we're chatting here, I'm going, you had a vision, you have this, you had that. At some point, you sat in a room with your eyes shut and you figured that stuff out.
I don't know what I just shot. It's probably, usually when I'm, I won't say that part, but it's usually driving. Like, it's because you're quiet, you have.
Were you going to say washing your balls in the shower?
No, sitting in the toilet.
But it's true, isn't it? Because
you don't have the phone yet. You're
there. You go to the toilet without your phone. You're the rarity. But that's the point, isn't it?
Let's not go on the hygiene of that.
But that's the whole point, is having that space to do it. But also before that awareness to do it.
Yeah.
People fear it, and I don't know why they fear it. Like, what is there to fear from knowing what you really want and dreaming?
I think this idea of that, it goes back to the cultural thing of, you get criticized, you get, if you make that mistake, you fail, you're going to be known as a failure. It kind of goes back to that sort of, every time you're growing up with school, it's like you make a mistake, people would make the point of it. But you did something successful, no one care, give a damn.
Well, no, the opposite is lucky bastard. Yeah. Oh, he's there, and you get the hate. So you get hate because you're crap, or you get hate because you're good. So where do you sit? Oh, I'm just going to sit in the middle. Well, I never, if that's what you want to do, that's true to your heart. If you don't want to be seen, then fine, sit there. But that wasn't for me, and it's not from a lot of entrepreneurs. I think that's why they do it, or people go off and do it.
So when you're looking at Torus Tree, so what sort of what do you do that helps entrepreneurs? Mine is breathing.
Yeah, so Torus Tree was all about helping people, regardless of whether you're an entrepreneur or not. So I wanted to affect the community around here, Dunkeld, Perthshire. I'm trying not to build like this huge UK brand centres up and down the country.
You can see you're going to do that. You just see it.
Trying not to do it, but it's in my brain. Just feel that. So at the moment, it's just about helping people overcome. Now, I love working with entrepreneurs. It's that buzz. It's that creating something. It's seeing people get that aha moment who struggle at this point, and also holding people accountable. I think, like, when you go to the gym and you've got a physical trainer to help you, they're going to get those extra 3 reps out of you where the muscle comes from.
Yeah,
and it's easier not to do that because you don't want to push it. So I think that accountability. I've always had mentors or coaches of some fashion or another. And I see a lot of people not doing it and not seeing the value in it. I'm like, you're bonkers. The most successful sports players in the world have coaches.
Yeah.
They're the most successful sports players, and yet they have a coach. And you're wondering why you're not good at golf. It's because you're not getting coached.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you need it more than the successful. So
there's nothing wrong with having help.
Absolutely not. Well, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
To do that, and have people who've been down the line before. So I think, but I also had mentors from podcasts, from books. It wasn't necessarily somebody I could always pick up the phone to.
Is that you listening and reading?
Yeah. And I, because I'm dyslexic, I'm always listening. And I'll listen to a book maybe 2 or 3 times, and I'll always get something new out of it. One, because either my brain went off and I was daydreaming, as I said something and missed the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 2, I wasn't in that part of my life when I would listen to the book the first time. And now it's more relevant to me wherever I am. So I think that's got to be like, you've got to have that. If you're not doing that, you're missing out. If you're not doing the networking, you're not finding your tribe to help you, you're going to struggle. You are going to struggle. And again, building a team of people who's going to push you and develop all that. So mentors can come in all different types, sizes, and fashion. So for me with Torus Tree, it's yes, I do help entrepreneurs and doing it because I just love it. It's what I do, and I'm not investing as much as I used to now because I'm just like, I just don't want the hassle of it at all. I'm managing investments, but ultimately, I'm helping people who've got traumas, and we all have traumas of things. We all are held back. You have a belief in you that's holding you back from something, from being your authentic self, because you're in fear of something, or being in fear of rejection. You're worried that people might not like you if they really knew what I was thinking.
Yeah,
they might not like me, and all these things are going ahead. So what I've really enjoyed is the fact that I'm being my authentic self now. I'm training as a shaman on the shamanic world because spiritualism, something was never in my life. And really now I'm like, wow, there's too many things happening to me on a spiritual level. And calmness and everything that comes with these thousands of years of training that I'm using in every day. So I'm like, can I bridge the corporate world with the shamanic practices of spiritualism in a way that it's not so woo-woo?
Yeah.
Because we talk about grounding, for example. You know what grounding is?
Yeah.
You know, when you stand on the floor with bare feet and stuff. But now the science is backing up why grounding is good, because they show that especially if you wear polyester and stuff like that, you get static in your body and it causes the cells to come together. Grounding allows them to come apart. And then your cells work better, your blood cells, because they've got more surface.
My own explanation of what it is.
So,
I don't know.
oh yeah. So grounding is when you put your feet on the ground, on the soil. You might go in water, and you ground your body, and it just calms your nervous system down. But also from a scientific point of view, it pulls the blood cells apart and allows to get more surface.
Yeah.
And so the science is there now to back up what you would class as woo-woo.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I just think there's so much we've forgotten, and our disconnection with nature, all these things. No wonder. I mean, we're natural animals. We're from this planet.
Yeah.
But we don't spend any time in it. You know, we don't spend any time in it.
No, I know. It's like the science behind it called water swimming.
Mhm.
It helps, or just a cold shower.
Yeah. Scandinavians have known it for years, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like it's fasting,
Yeah.
Every single religion has fasting in it. Now we're understanding the science behind it.
Mm.
But we've known that for thousands of years.
Yeah.
All these things. And I remember when I ran Bella and Duke, I was talking about fasting. I said, as a biohacker, we knew fasting was really good for you. People would dig at me. I'm not going to starve my dog. I mean, you're missing the whole point. Now, fortunately, the science is.
You fast a dog?
Yeah. I mean, the cats and dogs fast naturally. If they're not well, they don't eat.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, they just don't eat. They know what to do.
Mm.
If you watch an animal, they know what to do. And we get worried because they missed one meal.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this is done well. Maybe this is full. We're so used to eating 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
It's not how we naturally would have eaten.
No, it's the whole autophagy.
Yeah.
Which your body, the cell eat the bad.
Yeah, exactly. You turn the mTOR off, which is your photocopier for your cells.
Yeah.
The problem with that is it photocopies their cancer cells as well as the good cells, which is why cancer grows. Well, not all cancer is the same, but they're showing that when you go in that fasting, that mTOR switches off, and the body goes to the autophagy and starts to heal, get rid of the bad cells, and replace it. So the science is catching up. But yeah, we've known this for thousands of years.
Yeah. No, it is an interesting one, and when you kind of look back at your career and you look at your relationship with mental health and failure,
mm-hmm.
How would you say it's changed over the years?
I've looked at the mistakes I've made and learned from them.
Mm.
I think I'd be in a different place if I hadn't become aware of myself, of culture, of business, of society, just everything, just the business environment. Some things happen because it's out of your control, but you don't necessarily see it that way.
Yeah.
And other things happen because you made mistakes. Owning them both and understanding them both is really, really critical. So, it's like people in relationships. If you keep finding the wrong people in your life, what's the common factor? What is it that you've got set in your way? What story were you brought up with that kept putting you into finding that person, that wrong person for you? And it might be because I don't feel good enough, or this happens. So I think, I look back now at all the things that I've done and go, would I change anything? Maybe one or two, but not really. Because I wouldn't be sitting with you here today in this beautiful part of Perthshire, in this amazing location, by powerful, powerful energies, huge ancient trees. I mean, I'm surrounded by a circle of oaks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't made the mistakes. Because how would I have learned to do the right thing if I hadn't done the wrong thing?
No, that's a very powerful sort of clarity to have, to look back and go, there's the most valuable thing that you've had.
Mm.
Is that, and I guess if you had to single out a lesson for your career, would you say would be the greatest one that you had?
Listen to my gut,
And why is that?
because your gut's telling you something.
Mm.
Right or wrong, it's telling you something.
Yeah.
And then you start second guessing yourself. Not everything in your gut's correct, because the gut and the mind starts playing games with you. But just investigate it, and sometimes have faith in what you believe in is right. And even though the smart people are telling you differently, listen to your gut.
Mm.
Because if I'd listened to the smart people, I wouldn't have started Bella and Duke.
Yeah.
Because who am I to start a pet food business? You know, when you look at it, I'm not qualified, I'm not this, I'm not. So I had to follow my gut, I had to follow my heart. And for me, understanding my biggest motivation was I wanted to be a great example to my kids.
Yeah.
I wanted to be everything that I didn't get,
Mm.
and give that to them. That was my gift to my kids.
And then, so when you referred to about how the baggage from your family and your parents, how did you kind of, I guess, what was the moment you realized that you're passing on to your children and you went, okay, I need to stop?
Just being aware of it. Like, why do I think that way? Why am I saying it? Why am I getting angry? Why is that triggering me? Why? You know, and rather than just accepting it and going, can I change it? So I always love the example of overachievers, of perfectionism, because that is the most common one I see. People are afraid to be called out. People are afraid to look like the fool because they might be kicked out the village. Whatever their mentality is, it is.
Yeah.
But having those people on your team when you're not that one
Yeah.
is very powerful. So once you understand people's wounds, you want certain wounds in your team. And then you want to help them overcome it. And that's what I've always tried to do. I've always tried to, even Bella and Duke's culture was all about, and we got this in the very start, was all about coming out of your comfort zone. We did this thing at Bella and Duke as we were growing, because most of it was done online. So I didn't get to know all the staff because we weren't allowed to. When lockdown came down, we had these DNA days, and we invited the whole teams, 25 people a day. And we talked about the things that we wanted in our company and the things that we didn't culturally. So I said to people, what did you hate about your last job? And what did you love? And people write things on the red board, things like backstabbing. I don't like that. And this, you knew what they were.
How comfortable were they actually doing that initially? Were they going, is this a trick?
Well, I would stand up, and one of the things we did was just said, for example, tell us something from your life every decade that's defined you. Mm-hmm. And I would get up and I'd be truly honest with people. I'd go, this happened to me as a child, and this. So I led by being, what's the word? Honest and open and vulnerable. So then that allowed everyone else to become honest. And suddenly, now Jimmy across the road from, say, I'm making these names up, by the way, they're not real people.
That's right, yeah.
They would find something about each other. They went, oh, right, that happened to you as well as a kid. Oh, that happened to me. Now they're no longer such and such. They're now, oh, I get you. I understand why you're a little bit like the way you are.
Yeah.
I understand that. So when you build that trust, I guess the word trust is what you're asking me.
Yeah.
Is then when we came to doing, write down things on the red board, write things on the green board that you want to happen. Because they wrote it, I said, right, we'll build the culture on this. I knew what they were going to write, but if I wrote it, they wouldn't have bought into it. Because they wrote it, they owned it. So who polices the culture? The team, because they built the culture.
Yeah.
And then because we're a pet food business, we had Park Life, which is our head office. Then we had Park Rules. And I have a park ranger who's my office manager, create this whole culture. And, people then call people out and say, you shouldn't do that because of park rule number X. Or, hey, well done because that's park rule number. So when you put the focus on the system and take it off the people, that's how you grow a culture-based business.
Wow, that's incredible. Incredibly good lesson.
And I learned that from running my very first sales office.
Really?
Yeah, because it was all about positive mental attitude. You had to have people really enthusiastic.
But how did you learn that so early then?
Because it was all mental. Everything that I did, that's what I realized 30 years on. All the stuff I learned when I was 20. I went, geez, I forgot all that. Positive mental attitude, setting goals, all these safeguard your attitude, taking control, all these things that I just learned very.
All the hard things you went through that made you
who I am. And I've forgotten that's what I've done. And then I just start to bring all these back in again. Slightly different examples, but
yeah. No, it's incredibly, being able to do that, because not everyone can.
No.
And that's the thing. They realize it, but then doing it is a difference.
It's always about execution, isn't it? Yeah. Execution. You can have 10 people, the same idea. It's whoever does the execution.
Yeah, exactly. So when you look back at your career for all of it, do you have like an artifact, like basically that you, I guess, like a book, maybe dog food or something, that you kind of go, or maybe just your dogs, but something you look back and go, and it reminds you of your career, and you kind of look back on fondly and going, this is the journey I went through. And there's something.
Apart from my Vauxhall Calibra. Well, there's a book. There's two books.
Almost at a caravan.
So but there's two books. One is The E-Myth. I don't know if you've read that one.
No, I haven't.
Why 95% of businesses fail. The Entrepreneurial Myth. That's a great book.
Okay.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because it taught me about finances.
Okay.
And some people, and I actually did it. I went, oh, it does work. So some people go, oh, yeah, but I can't afford. So I did this, right? I went and got a little flat in Blairgowrie, and I tested this, right? I got a credit card, and I took the cash out. These, 0 day.
Yeah.
And put it down as deposit. And then I got the mortgage. A year later, I remortgaged, paid the credit card off because the value in the property went up because of a couple of things. How much money did I put in?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I just didn't want the hassle of running lots of little flats. But that's the sort of thing I'll just go off and test it. And there is ways of doing stuff if you're educated on how to do it. So yeah, it's like, because I'm dyslexic and I read something, I often I read it, I go, I don't get that. And it takes me 4 or 5 times to do it. But when it sinks in, I go, now I get it. Now I understand what I need to do. Yeah. But then other people went, yeah, I knew that. I'm like, so why the fuck aren't you doing it? It's taking me 5 times to really understand what they were saying, just because and you understood it under day one and you didn't fucking do it.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. Can't be more bolder. It's the same, when I've got calculators, I've got calendars in folders that I need to sell that are out of date. I either sell them or I don't. I either have excuses or I just make shit happen.
Exactly. That's the same as, when you're doing the door knocks. You have to get the story.
You do. You just do it.
You have to find the mechanism to do it.
Well, you're selling you at the end of the day. People buy people.
Exactly.
So as long as they, the cheeky Charlie smiley face,
it's harder when it comes to death.
Yeah. Death.
Yeah, the death knocks, you're a journalist knocking on doors.
Oh, right. No. Oh, yeah. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
It's similar to that, because you have to have that thick skin to go tell, oh, you fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, we're just trying to give the right reply because the police have issued a statement. That's the reason. There's no other reason than that. But okay, we'll go. Bye.
Yeah, it's hard. It is hard.
Yeah.
But it makes you who you are. Like,
exactly.
You now send out emails, you send out this, and you worry, well, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody says no.
Yeah, I've always done that. I've always been like, I'm going to do this, and just, they're not going to say, they're going to say no, but with to say yes, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Well, every no gets you closer to yes. There's all these things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about execution and just doing it.
Just doing it.
Not being scared of that no.
Yeah.
But no. But anyway, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming up after your long drive up here, and the setup that you've done is amazing. I appreciate it. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you for watching the Burnout Files or listening.